Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start the webinar, we'd like to show you a quick ProTrack welcome video so you'll have an overview of the ProTrack for change and quality management. And then after that, Ken will be facilitating this webinar. Thank you.
ProTrack for Sightline, the future of change and quality management. Quadcore's partnership with XRS brings ProTrack, your ultimate ally in mastering every shift in your manufacturing landscape. From streamlining engineering changes to mastering document control and excelling in customer-driven modifications, ProTrack brings it all together. Say goodbye to fragmented processes and hello to seamless integration, clarity, and precision in every task. ProTrack's robust suite of tools, including advanced analytics, user-defined workflows, and comprehensive metrics, helps you meet and exceed industry standards. ProTrack is also leveraging Microsoft's Power BI tool from Eureka. With advanced analytics coming soon, stay audit-ready and quality-centric, turning every operation into an opportunity for improvement and every challenge into a success story. We invite you to join our upcoming webinar on November 6th, 2024 at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we'll dive deeper into how ProTrack can revolutionize your operations. See you there. ProTrack for Sightline, the future of change and quality management. Quadcore's partnership with XRS brings ProTrack, your ultimate ally in mastering every shift in your manufacturing landscape. From streamlining engineering changes to mastering document control and excelling in customer-driven modifications, ProTrack brings it all together. Say goodbye to fragmented processes and hello to seamless integration, clarity, and precision in every task. ProTrack's robust suite of tools, including embedded analytics, user-defined workflows, and comprehensive metrics, helps you meet and exceed industry standards. ProTrack is also leveraging Microsoft's Power BI tool from Eureka. With advanced analytics coming soon, stay audit-ready and quality-centric, turning every operation into an opportunity for improvement and every challenge into a success story. We invite you to join our upcoming webinar on November 6th, 2024 at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we'll dive deeper into how ProTrack can revolutionize your operations. See you there.
Good afternoon, all. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. How
Oh,
what? How
very
about
good.
you guys?
A lot of people are on mute. So I'm going to work on the premise slash assumption that you guys can hear me. And first of all, thank you for taking the time to sit in on this presentation of ProTrack. We're going to be doing a combination PowerPoint slide as well as the looking at the real software, and we're saving you some time at the end in the event that you have some questions and some discussion and answers that we want to talk about. So diving right in to this, first of all, a bit of background about myself. I've been working with the Simon Sightline CSI, Funched Up, whatever you want to call it, software for 30 plus years. I was founder of RSVP Business Systems. There was a Sightline channel partner based in the East in Ontario, Canada. And our company was the architect of the Sightline QC solution that Infor acquired in 2011. And I'm also the developer of the ProTrack software that we're going to be taking a look at next. So as a way to get started on this, some people ask, why did I develop ProTrack? And just my passion for quality continued after Infor acquired RSVP. And when quality standards like the ISO standard for 2015 came out with a continued emphasis on process approach and plan, do, check, and act cycle and risk-based thinking, I said there's an opportunity here to provide software to companies, to Sightline companies in particular, that would help support these elements, among other things, of the ever-evolving quality standards. So as a way to begin for manufacturing companies, what I have up on here is a common way of representing a product life cycle. At the very beginning is a design, a vision, a concept, an idea that the company or somebody has for a product, and they go through various phases of developing and prototype and ultimately release it in the manufacturing environment and service the product potentially as well. And the Sightline software, the CSI software, they were all very familiar with and addresses the latter part of this product life cycle. And with the ProTrack software, what we did was to address the entire life cycle. In other words, recognize that companies do many things above and beyond the ERP cycle in the business. So if I look to put a bit of meat onto this in flow diagram here, this is some of the functionality that's available with the ProTrack software. And I'm going to highlight a few things here. NPI, new product development, new product introduction, APQP, or stage gate methodology, or other terminology, depending upon the environment that you work in, is available. There's also support for contract review and customer change orders. This technically commonly needed for highly technical environments where we need to ask ourselves, do we have the sourcing and the tooling and the other elements that we need in order to accept an order and deliver an order from a customer. There is also engineering change order functionality and deviation, and this is a superset of the ECN module capability that exists in the core Sightline software, and then a number of quality-related activities, non-conformance or corrective action that can span the entire gamut, not just during the production cycle or the manufacturing cycle, but can occur any point in the cycle, and also some tools for supplier management and audit and QA and other functionality along the way. So if we take a moment here to display this slide that is a summary of the process that's available with the ProTrack software, we're not going to have time to get into all of the pieces of functionality. I do encourage that if there is interest to contact the folks at QuadCore, and we would set up a presentation demonstration to you and whatever members of your team might be relevant. But we are going to hit on a couple of these things, most notably the engineering change orders and nonconformance and corrective action modules we're going to be taking a look at. So at this point, what I'm going to do is hit a key, and we're going to switch out of the PowerPoint mode and over to the Sightline environment on my system. So I'm working on Sightline CSI 10, and we can see that we have the ProTrack module installed underneath the public folders module of the system, and we have functionality, change management, and quality management, and a number of other pieces of functionality. But we're going to begin our view by looking first of all at the engineering change order module. And the first thing I want to make sure everybody is aware of, this is built inside the Sightline application, which means we have access to all of the information that's already inside Sightline. It's built using Infor development standards. It's available on-premise and in the cloud. It's available on CSI 9, CSI 10 as well. So there's a lot of technical things in place here. But what we're seeing on the screen now is an example of an engineering change order for the system. At the very top, we see the identification. This is ECO number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and a simple numerical sequence assigned. This particular engineering change order is connected with a job. If it were connected with a PO or an SRO or a project or some other order type within Sightline, we can say that this engineering change order is associated with that. We can also, if we so choose, leave it to be blank. In other words, we're not obligated to link it to any type of order within the system. We can, if we want, identify that the engineering change order that we're working on is or is not connected with some order inside Sightline. And we can also identify if this engineering change order is an item-related change order, process-related change order, or any of a number of the things. And this is a drop-down list that you define in the system about the types of change orders that we're addressing. And this is also where we identify for the type of change order where we're going to identify the workflow associated with this. So in my particular case, it is a bill of material change. This entire list here is defined by you folks when you have the software. So whatever your workflow is in support of document changes or work instruction changes or warranty related ECOs, you have the ability to define and set up a workflow associated with that as well. So it's an ECO, but this particular example is a bill of material change ECO workflow on the system. So on the bottom of the screen, we have identification. If we want to identify with a lot or an item, we can do that. We identify who the owners are of this, and we also have a number of tabs of display information. I'm going to start at the right-hand side, first of all, which is where we have a listing of the workflow associated with this particular engineering change order. So we see we have 7 tasks defined. These tasks are a mix of things assigned to quality, purchasing, engineering, and production, and we have visibility to what each of the tasks is and what its status is and when there's completed along the way. And creating a task list is just as easy as what I'm doing here to click the buttons, and we created a new task list with everything dated along the way here. So we now have a user-defined workflow that is associated with the execution of engineering change order number 1. If we pull up in the form where we have the listing of the tasks displayed, we can see we have a color indicator if the tasks are on time or late or other activity, and we have the first instance of this plan, do, check, and act cycle, where the lower left-hand corner is where we're defining the plan or the instruction to the person completing this task of what it is they need to do. It can be a one-line summary. It can be multiple lines of information. We identify who this task is assigned to, and if we want, we can associate due dates and start dates and end dates and complete dates associated with it. And the lower middle part of the screen is where the D and the PDCA, the do or the work done, this is where we're going to be recording the work done. So the work that we're supposed to do is on the left-hand side. What we do is on the middle section here. And you'll note that as I added in some notes to the system, the software is automatically taking the notes I had, attaching a user date timestamp ID along this way. So there is no erase button, there is no backup button, or anybody overriding these entries along the way. And if I'm done with the work I need to do, all I need to do is tell the system I completed the particular task. And if so configured, I can send an email to the next user in line for the system. And we now have visibility that this task is done. We have 3 more tasks to do. These tasks in black over here are on the list, but are not yet authorized to work on because we've not yet done the sign-off activity, if you will, associated with this task flow. So this user-defined task flow lists all the things that we need to do, has some intelligence associated with it to control the execution, to guide us down the path of executing it in the proper form or the proper sequence of activities that we need. We also have a calendar view on the right-hand side along the way for this task that I'm working with. I have a date time stamp ID of when this task was completed by who along the way. So that's a very quick look at the user-defined workflow associated with the execution of engineering change order number 1. We have some email capabilities we can manually initiate if we so do, and there's some other functionality I'm not going to try and get into during this initial introduction. But again, I want to emphasize this is a user-defined workflow. So whatever your process, whatever your workflow is at your organization for managing different types of engineering change orders, you can easily define within the system. So if I didn't mean to close out the form there. So if I have a different ECO and I want to identify this is a document workflow, I can see I have a 8-step process here that now involves a document control that is a different workflow than my BOM workflow, what we saw initially along the way. So it is very much user-defined workflows and execution of those workflows that are available with the engineering change order. There are a number of other tabs of information to assist the engineer in the process of executing the change order. There is a general notepad area that anybody and everybody can write to, but we also have an inventory bill of material tab. So as much as I'm looking at the change for the FA 20,000 or some other item in the system, I have the ability to quickly gain visibility to anything in piece in inventory. So I might be interested in possibly one of these 2 frames. In this first frame, I can see I have $103,000 worth of inventory on. In the second frame, if I navigate to it, I see that I have nearly $400,000 worth of inventory. In both cases, in all cases actually here, I have this immediate listing of where used, where is this particular subassembly used, what does this bill of material look like. If I navigate to a different subassembly, I can see it's used on different bicycles that it has its own bill of material along the way. If I pull up a purchase component, I also have the visibility to it. I can see it's used in 2 places, but it does not have a bill of material because it's a component and not a manufactured item. So we have instant visibility to inventory status information up the bill of material tree, down the bill of material tree, and we also have access to standard sightline displays here that make it so that if I wanted to find out exactly the orders that we have for this particular item, I can pull up the standard sightline time-phased inventory status display showing the details about what's coming with the SA 5500. And if I navigate to a different item, I get a different time phase display now showing what's happened with this particular subassembly. So we have instant access to a number of different sightline displays. These 2 bottom ones are TBD. That are fully recognizing that very different companies are going to be looking for different things. So we commonly are able to just set that quick link up based upon the customer requirement to link or connect to other parts within the sightline application. So again, this inventory tab here is to help the engineer assess the inventory status, bill of material information, where used information, and quick links in order to gain visibility to other parts of this item as it exists elsewhere in the sightline application. We also have a broader view of this that for some companies, there is great variability on the engineering change order process. Some tell this software, I want to make a change to all the items that have a particular drawing number. So I told this system, I gave it a drawing number, and it went out and it found for me the two items that have that particular drawing number information. So these two displays are available. I also have instant visibility to a number of key elements associated with this FA 20000 pulled off the item master, so I don't not necessarily need to open the item master form in order to get this and search through what tab is that particular field on. I have a number of tabs along the way here, and also have visibility to what else from my ProTrack perspective is happening with this particular item, this FA 20000. So I can see I have a contract review, I have another change order, I have a deviation, I have a couple of non-conformances along the way, so I have complete visibility to all the activity associated with this FA 20000 within the Sightline application and within the ProTrack application. I also, if I so desire, can connect it with an ECN module within Sightline. I also have the ability to identify, yes, we are addressing this ECN, but maybe it's going to launch a car for us, or maybe we're temporarily going to have a deviation or some other activity associated with this, so that we have the ability now to link this information together. So if I choose this deviation, for example, and open up the document, I can open up the ProTrack deviation form, and you can see it knows its parent. It came from ECO number 1, and I have now the deviation form in front of me and available. So I have tools to link this ECO with other data inside the Sightline application. I also have the ability to identify if I want to associate issues with this particular item that would be valuable for me to record the parts don't fit or some other type of nomenclature. So I have the ability to identify one or more issues associated with that, and I have an issue log that I can open up that would provide visibility to me about the details about this particular issue. If I want to do that, we also have a tab that is specifically geared towards answering the question, what is the impact of this engineering change order if we do it? So we have the ability here to quantitatively identify that production is saying it's going to increase the labor cost by a certain dollar amount, and production is also going to saying it's delayed the orders and orders out several weeks. The quality department came back and said we can meet the specifications even if we make this change order, and that the purchasing department has come back and telling us now that the purchasing lead time is 24 items. So this is a user definable, user entered part of the system where we can more formally document assessment and of the impact of making this engineering change order. So we're asking the question, yes, we're technically capable of making this engineering change order. What is the impact going to be? And I happen to have a number of entries over here, but the user could add as many as they wanted to. The ISO standards also introduced a term called interested parties, which is intended to recognize that anything an organization does affects the employees, affects the community, affects the shareholders and other environments. I asked that same question in the context of the Sightline application. What would be the interested parties in relation to Sightline? So we have the ability here to document, in this case, that this engineering change order affects a number of other things, and we have the ability, if we so choose, to call out, if we wanted to, that this item perhaps affects one or more vendors on the system or one or more work centers on the system. And if I pull my work center listing here and add that to the list, I now have a new work center entry added to the system, and I come back to the engineering change order, and I now see reference to this work center AS500 that is now related in some way to this. And you can put notes in here to document what the relationship would be, and we have the user tasks that I briefly talked about before. So we have other fields with the engineering change order form that allow us to identify, if we so choose, what type of risk this is, what level of risk is. This is a data collected for basically a risk register. There is not yet any risk management module within the ProTrack application. This is the beginning of it, if you will, that identifies, if we want to, we can associate this engineering change order and identify what type of risk and what level of risk are associated with this engineering change order. In other cases, we might choose to leave this information blank if we are not obligated to fill it out, but if we do, we have this information available to us. We also can identify that this problem is something that was detected commonly in the receiving department, but it really originated by the engineering department. So this engineering ECO is really directed at the engineering department for what we want to address, and we have the ability to identify problem codes and or cause codes associated with it as well. So this is a very brief and quick talking through the engineering change order module. If I pull up another ProTrack module in the change management area, this contract review is very similar to the ECO in that it does have a user task listing and a bunch of other things, but it also adds things unique for the contract review environment, like requirements, exceptions, and terms and conditions along the way. So the message I want to deliver here is that the architecture, the foundation of the ProTrack software is built upon a common foundation, a common architecture, and hence there is a lot of commonality among the screen displays and the user task forms along the way. So I'm going to pause for a second and give myself a chance to take a sip of my drink here. And next, we're going to open up the nonconformance form within the system. So this is another example of a ProTrack form. If I pull up this nonconformance like before, we had the ability to say it's connected to an order or it's not connected to any kind of order within the system, or it's connected to an ECO. If we want to, we have the ability to identify the nonconformance. We also have a user task workflow that is, in this case, identifies 8 different tasks associated with the execution of this nonconformance form. And like before, I have a form available to me that shows the activities that I'm behind on. And as I record my completion of activity along the way, I can optionally again send email to the next person in line. And now I see that if I'm done with the first task and have other tasks remaining on the list. So this user task display and the forms themselves are organized and laid out in a very similar fashion. There are things that are relevant, most relevant for a nonconformance environment that are listed here. So in the event it came from the QCS software, is the ability to do that. But again, the environment here is that we can detect and report and track nonconformances. They do not need to be an inventory item. They do not need to be a job or a PO. It can be anything from a safety violation of the curb between 2 areas or improper people driving the forklift activities. We have the ability to record these nonconformance activities along the way under a single umbrella. And as before, we have a collection of tabs available to us where relevant to pull up relevant information within Sideline or launch new documents or record issues along the way and or assess the impact with this nonconformance or identify the interested parties related to this as well as the user tasks. So those are 2 of the things. I'm going to pull up one more form here, the corrective action form, which is, again, looks a very common look and feel, but now we're asking or investigating inventory bomb issues now in the context of containment activities that we can initiate to contain or quarantine material as we so choose. Again, we have this instant visibility to items of interest in inventory. We can add to this list as need be. We can decide that we are going to have a deviation temporarily to hold us over until the corrective action gets executed. We have the ability to report issues. We have the ability to document the impact and the user task activities. This corrective action form supports an 8D, 3C, 5Y, fishbone, whatever type of process flow or workflow you want to associate with it. And additionally, in the corrective action environment, there is also the ability to launch things like fresh bone analysis or other activities or 5Y analysis or other activities that may be your tool of choice to execute a corrective action process along the way. So that's a couple of the ProTrack forms: corrective action, nonconformance, engineering change order, environment. Again, they all have a consistent foundation associated with them. And there are a collection I'll mention here of workbenches to help ask and answer the question, what do we have that's outstanding along the way? So if I tell the system, for example, I want to look at my NCR activities, I have a complete listing of all the NCR activities that are due. If I tell the system I am interested in ECOs more than I have the ability to do that particular activity. If I want to tell the system, don't show me any ones that are not that active, don't show me any ones that are complete, I can eliminate them from the list. If I work for the quality department, I can say, show all the things that are assigned to the quality team that need to be done. And now I have a list of 19 things, 18 of which are late on the system. And if I highlight any one of those, I can click a button and open a form and execute that process or that task off that form. So we have the ability here to identify work demand, if you will, work to be done, either by team or by document type or document status or task status or individual user ID or team ID, a number of different ways in which we can do this workbench kind of activity. We also have a basic Pareto analysis that allows us to, say, collect information, this NCR form that we have. Based upon the data that's in ProTrack, we can have a Pareto representation of that, and we can switch our focus to asking what's the problems that we're having or where are our problems originating, number of different things that we can do through a Pareto analysis, a simple basic Pareto analysis. So collectively here we have a good deal of functionality in the change management area, as I'm highlighting here, and in the quality management area, as we're highlighting here. And we also have some workbenches and data views and analytics and some other things in order to look at the data. So it's 35 minutes past the hour, and I wanted to make sure that we provided an opportunity to give you folks the ability to ask and answer some questions along the way. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint presentation, and there's a couple of screenshots over here. And there's also a testimonial from one of our customers who's been working with the ProTrack software since 2021. And as Gladys mentioned, there is a coming soon, the connection and the integration of the ProTrack data with the quad-core unique business intelligence tool along the way. And I do want to thank you. And at this point, Gladys, I want to turn it back to you or open it up to the audience to see what kind of questions we have or what we just went through relatively quickly.
Hi there, guys. The floor is open for some questions. I'm unmuting everyone as well, just in case you have questions in mind for Ken. Thank you.
I put a question in the chat. I was just curious, how does this differ from QCS?
It's a very good question. They both address quality. ProTrack addresses change management as well as quality. QCS has the concept of a receiver receiving purchase material into the QCS receiver along the way. And the ProTrack software has quality management functions that are a bit broader in scope. In other words, it's not focused on just an item. It recognizes the nonconformances can be anywhere and everywhere throughout the company. And it adds the ability to have user-defined workflows, 8D work list or checklist, if you will, along the ways. And the analysis tools like the fishbone diagram and the 5Y analysis as well are things that are not a part of the QCS software. And the ProTrack software is just much broader in scope. So the two can work hand in hand. You could use one, not the other, but they do peacefully and cooperatively coexist with each other as need be.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much for the question. Do you have other questions? Any other questions for Ken, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, I'm not going to get out this easy, am I?
Um,
I
there
placed my
are a
question.
couple other ones in the chat.
Yeah, I
Not
also
mine.
put mine in. I put mine into Q&A.
Right.
or in the
Let's
Q&A, yes.
I'm not seeing a meeting
let's
chat. Yep. Okay. Claire, can you help me out here? I'm not seeing the chat line.
sure.
Yep.
Okay. So there are some questions here, yes, on our Q&A box. From
Okay.
Mike, and he's asking, have the recording of test results been improved over QCS?
Oh, yes. 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 It was a piece of functionality I did not show, but let me just pop up the screen for just 1 second here. So I recognize that, having been the author of the QCS imputing test results, the part of the area that I did not plan on talking about would be the recording of QC test results, and it's been expanded significantly, if you will. So I don't have, do I have any, I don't know what I have in the way of data here. I don't know if I have any data, but this is the test result entry form, if you will. It's a single form. It does not require a receiver. It recognizes that when we're collecting quality data, sometimes it's pass fail, sometimes it's yes or no, or other activity along the way. And it's much more fluid as far as defining and setting up the QC test results. QCS software require that you define things linking to the current operation on a job. The ProTrack version says that you need to just be connecting it to an item and or a work center along the way, and all the test result information is displayed on a single screen here. So I did not come prepared to demonstrate that. Let me see if I can. Oh, there it is. So this is the ability to list all the things you need to check on one screen across all operations. FA 4000 in this particular case, but different work centers are available here. Let me see if I have a different example. 292. My apologies. I should have anticipated that somebody would have asked questions like this. So this is a different job and different item and different notes. Let me see if I have a even better example. Well, there's different items, different work centers, different tests to be recorded along the way. So do I have anything here? This is all the yes, no category. But when you define things, you have the ability to say, we're going to make you choose a choice, or we're going to allow you to choose a different yes, no, or a test result, or a lot of other things. So I can better record an example of this separately. So this is the definition of, now we're asking you to put in a color, and you define what the choices would be for the color. So it's much smarter, and it's set up much easier in its execution than the current QCS test result side of things. I told myself, let's get down to a single screen. With QCS software, you have to click and navigate around quite a bit. And with the ProTrack software, I said, let's make it smarter and simpler along the way. So again, I'd be happy to do a separate demonstration or presentation on that if you want, but basically it's much better than the QCS test result software.
Ken,
And
how
so
does this work with ShopTrack?
This screen display is in the process of being exported or made available under ShopTrack. So this is the only screen that you would need to record the information under ShopTrack. It knows the job, it knows the operation, and it displays all this information here. And this form will be, it's not yet there, but it's going to be on the ShopTrack form display as an option that you can enter in the values.
Okay. So the operator would be able to put either like a dimension if they had to check a dimension, or if it was a yes or no, they could answer that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you define what type of data am I collecting? Yes or no information? Or am I asking you for a choice? And I don't think I have any other examples on this particular one here, but it's very much user defined what type of data you want to collect. So there is a whole bunch of things there that's beyond the scope of trying to address this, but nonetheless, I recognize the QCS test result is an awkward process at best. And I said, we need to do better. And so we made it simpler and smarter both with the ProTrack part of things.
Hi, this is Ariel from Water Engineering. One of the issues we have with the QCS module is that we record by serial number, but there's not like a good integration with the QCS module and serial numbers. Do you have anything that improves that?
Yes, I'm adding to this list here, record by serial number. And what this will do is when you use pre-assigned serial numbers, the ProTrack test result stuff will grab that collection of pre-assigned serial numbers and create test results to say, here's my test result for serial number 1, here's my test result for serial number 2, and so on across the line. And yes, the QCS serial number capability is not at all linked in with the Sightline serial number capability. A bit of a history there. We added that serial number capability to QCS in 2005, and 3 or 4 years later, Sightline, at the time they bought the software, were just coming out with the pre-assigned serial numbers. So RSVP did not have a chance to re-engineer that part of things to say the serial numbers now need to be connected with the Sightline pre-assigned serial numbers or pre-assigned lot numbers.
Thank you.
I can see another question here from Mike. Do we need to own QCS and this product?
No, they are separate from each other. So you can, let me close out this form here. And so you can get just the ProTrack software and the parts of quality management that you get with this, most notably are the nonconformance and corrective action and this test result reporting. What you do not get, let me be just clear about this, the idea of disposition and vendor supplier performance scorecards and things like that are not currently a part of the ProTrack software. So the ProTrack does not use Receiver, which is a key element in the QCS software, and that concept does not exist in the ProTrack software. But you do have the corrective action, as we saw, and the nonconformance. They are, I characterize them as 21st century versions of the nonconformance to corrective actions. So, this 5-Y diagram or the fishbone analysis or this user-defined workflow along the way. These are all things that are defined as part of the ProTrack software that are not a part of the QCS software. The intent with the ProTrack software was to provide functionality in many cases that did not currently exist within the Sightline application. So things like new product introduction, for example, which is another ProTrack process. You can have a user-defined workflow associated with this that would be commonly run by the engineering department, but would involve quality and sales and other people on the way, but would detail all the activity associated with a new product development, new product introduction, sourcing and build the tooling and things of that nature along the way. And depending upon how you set this up, you can execute the stage gate mentality of not allowing users to work on advanced tasks until the previous phase is done. That kind of mentality is a part of the ProTrack software. Again, it is not part of the Sightline software, ERP software.
All right, thank you, Ken. If you have other questions, ladies and gentlemen, any other questions? We still have 5 or 10 minutes.
So if I may, I admittedly ran through things quick here, and my experience has been sometimes the people responsible for engineering change orders or nonconformances attend these presentations. Sometimes they don't. Our intent here is to hopefully generate enough interest that you would come back and say, I want to see the software, and I'm going to invite my engineering team or my quality team or other people within the company to see the software and do a deeper dive that we're able to accomplish here in this webinar format that we have available to us.
Right. And I think we have accommodated all questions already, Ken. So, do you have any more to say or to discuss so we can also wrap up?
I'll be quiet for a change. I don't know if Sam or Gary or anybody else wanted to add in anything along the way, but I do appreciate the opportunity to talk with folks that are here, and hopefully there's a follow-up interest in a deeper dive in this, because again, given the format and the limited amount of time, it's a lot of material to cover in a short amount of time.
Right, that's right. But if you have further questions along the way, ladies and gentlemen, or you wish to know more information or you want more in-depth knowledge, please contact Christina, our sales expert at christinam@quadcore.com, so we can schedule you for a one-on-one demo. Right. Thank you for attending. And
Thank
thank
you
you,
all.
Ken, for your wonderful discussion, presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw a couple of hand claps there.
Thank you so much.